This is The Filter on iHeart Podcasts Canada.
Okay, so we're getting a catfishing documentary from you guys.
You are.
Yeah. So it's called Fanatical, the Catfishing of Tegan and Sara. What happened?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Well, I think what would be easiest if you come inside with me and we'll watch the movie.
Okay.
But if I did have to sum it up under pressure, I would say that for the last 15 years, somebody was pretending to be me.
Yeah.
And they tricked fans, people I know, into thinking that they were friends with me, in some cases dating me, and able to hack into and access a lot of really personal information. So the film is kind of about that, but the deeper layers, it's about parasocial relationships between artists and their fan bases.
Yeah.
It's about growing up and learning how to say no. It's about boundaries, but it's also a celebration of what I think was the early time in our career where the internet and those spaces where queer people came together were safe and special as well. So it's a bit of everything.
Yeah, so your fans were really impacted by this. It was also in 2011 it started. So that's kind of, I feel like it's so common now that we hear these stories, but back then it must have been like so scary. So how did you find out that this was going on?
You know, another fan told our managers that something suspicious was happening. So that's originally how we found out. But, you know, you're right. We didn't have the vernacular that we have now. We didn't have the context that we have now, which is why I think that the film is arriving, I think, at an important time in a sort of like social conversation that's happening, you know, in part to people like Chappell Roan, like speaking out very bravely about her early experiences with fame. We understand even on a small micro level, you know, what it is to sort of have your life really invaded and have people, a very small number of people. This is like the majority of our fan base is wonderful. But to have people sort of take advantage of this dynamic and to sort of abuse that relationship in some ways. And also, I think hopefully starting a conversation about a larger responsibility from the industry and like what they can do to better protect fans and artists alike.
Yeah, I think, like you said, we have more of the language around protecting yourself online and hopefully, you know, raising some red flags if something seems fishy. But
if the film does anything, what I hope it will do is the next time someone pretends to be Tegan online and the person, I hope somebody will Google it and go like, is this a scam? Am I like on a TV show? And then they see that we made a movie about it. You know?
And how did you get involved? I know you wrote a book called High School, and then we got a series on that. Now we're getting a documentary about catfishing. How did you get involved with the filmmaking aspect of this whole story?
So a couple years ago, I wrote a story called Fake Tegan about what happened to me, and I actually thought it would make a good podcast. So I reached out to my friend Jenny Eliscu, who's standing right next to me, who's an amazing journalist and writer, and we know through the music industry. She'd worked on a film called Britney versus Spears with amazing director Aaron Lee Carr. So I wrote Jenny and said, I have this story I want to share with you. I think we should make a podcast together. And she called me and said, yes, 100%. I want to introduce you to Aaron Lee Carr. I think she could help us. And then Aaron took a meeting with us and was like, this is not a podcast, you guys. It's a movie.
Yeah.
And so here we are.
So you came into this project still not knowing. You call her Fegan? Fake Tegan?
Yeah.
You don't know who Fegan is?
We know who Fake Tegan is.
Going into the filmmaking, did you?
We had somebody who we thought was Fake Tegan all along, but we reinvestigated the whole thing for the film.
For this,
because we had suspicions that it might be more than one person, and also, honestly, for a long time, because of the later victims that came forward, like they were tricked through an old email address of mine, we started to worry that there was a second Fegan and it was actually somebody we knew. So we were able to rule that out.
Yeah.
But I don't want to give too much away of the film, but yes, we know who Fake Tegan is, and
So the message you're hoping fans take away is more online safety, more boundaries for you.
Yeah, use two-step authentication.
Smart. Yeah. Don't make your password.
Don't make your password or your name and your birthday.
And I mean, like, further to like fan behavior too. Like, I mean, I think it's a simple like ask yourself if the thing that you're doing to connect with your favorite artist would potentially scare away a normal person. Like if you follow them to their house and stand outside, would that upset them?
No.
I think Sarah.
Come on.
I'm like a little bit worried about you. I feel like,
do it.
I don't know.
Just kidding. I'm kidding.
I definitely agree with what Sarah's saying, but I would actually say this just popped in my head, and I think it's important to say.
Yeah.
Every victim that we interviewed. Admitted at some point that they had an alarm bell. They had an instinct that something wasn't right, and they all ignored it. So I would just say, listen to your gut.
Yeah.
If something doesn't feel right, it's not right. Also, if you become friends with me or you're dating me and you don't see me physically, That's definitely not me. I'm very codependent.
Typically want to see somebody.
You will definitely see me.
This is the greatest irony. This is the greatest irony. If you've listened to Tegan and Sara songs, you know Tegan is way too codependent to talk to you for like 5 years without ever laying
long distance.
You're playing it very
you.
cool.
If I like you, I'll move to your country.
I can promise you, Tegan has started dating people and they've come on tour with us. I mean, like, it's fast. She moves fast. She's a lesbian.
That's beautiful.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So how has this all impacted you, and are you better now because there's more like
We're worse.
We're
worse now.
And me as well, clearly. About the conversation with boundaries and your fans. I know when you started in the industry, that wasn't a thing if you're famous. Congratulations. And you have no boundaries now in personal life. So has that conversation been easier?
Yeah, I would say that starting around the time that Fake Tegan happened, it became a lot easier for us to say we need to have boundaries, we need to have appropriate amounts of personal space, and we need to be really careful of how we craft and curate ourselves for the public.
Yeah.
I still think we're us. I don't think we've changed at all. When you look at footage of us when we were like 17, 18 years old, we talk the same, we act the same.
Yeah.
I think if you come to a Tegan and Sara show or you come and see our see us on social media or whatever, you are getting a real version of us, but yeah, we keep a lot to ourselves, we definitely believe in privacy, and honestly, I'm happy to take a photo with somebody if I'm walking down the street and they politely ask, but I will absolutely say no to people if I think they're being rude or aggressive or pushy. I think use common sense and also be polite. I think a lot of artists are starting to change, like we're starting to not feel like, I don't know, being a fan and being entitled to something is very different. So, yeah, but I'd say we're still us. We're Canadian. If you come up to us and ask for a photo, you're probably going to get one.
Yeah,
so.
You'll say, we're Canadian, of course.
Yes, we'll be like,
be nice to me, though.
Honestly, I'm hanging on for dear life on this cliff. If I take a selfie with you, will you throw me a rope?
Lovely. Yeah. Well, I'm excited to watch your catfishing journey. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
But
I hope you enjoy it.
I didn't want to say
what horrible thing that happened to me.
Feels so weird too, because I'm like documentary, but document.
I know. But it still celebrates a time in music that was really significant and our amazing audience, because the vast majority are great. So it is
totally,
you can
and
say
it's a lovely message, and people do need to know about online safety, and catfishing is very real. And don't date people for 5 years and not see them.
That's right.
And
agreed.
I love love.
I love love.
Cool.
Lovely to chat with you.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to The Filter, an iHeart Podcasts Canada production. Subscribe to The Filter wherever you get your podcasts.